This is a sports catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter. I welcome you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, May 8th, in 2013, I was seriously pissed off. And no, it's nothing to do with the whole thing with the Toronto Maple Leafs and all that. That will come later. But I learned of a fate worse than death, if you will. As Alex Ferguson, the man, the myth, the legend, at Manchester United, decided to leave after 27 fruitful years with the Manchester United soccer team. So Alex Ferguson actually has a big history and all that. He was born on New Year's Eve, 1941. But anyway, Sir Alex actually was a goal scorer in the Scottish League in 1966. He was the top goal scorer in Scotland. That's amazing. He would actually be a manager for East Stirlingshire and St. Mirren in Scotland. And then he was one of the best Scottish managers around. He was manager of Aberdeen that won the Cup Winners' Cup in 1983 and winning 3 Scottish League championships. He would briefly manage Scotland after the death of Jock Stein during the 1985 in 1985 during the 1986 World Cup qualifiers, which Scotland qualified for, but as always, Scotland blew it, not getting to the second phase. Ferguson was given the keys to Man U in November of '86. In his 26 years, 38 trophies. That's amazing. 13 Premier Leagues, 5 FA Cups, and 2 Champions League titles. He was knighted in 1999. He was the longest. He is the longest serving manager of Man U, 26 years, and he decided to retire on his own terms, winning the Premier League. So it's amazing how he was a good goal scorer, and then he decided to coach like St. Mirren and Aberdeen, who basically got everything going. And Aberdeen, in the time of Celtic and Rangers, well, it's always the time for Celtic and Rangers in Scotland, but in the 1980s, it was different. They won the Scottish Cup, getting them to the Cup Winners' Cup because you win your league cup, you're in this tournament. So they took down Bayern Munich, which was huge, and then they beat Real Madrid and all that. Aberdeen was the third Scottish team to win a European trophy after Celtic and I think Rangers won a trophy. But anyway, they won the Super Cup as the Cup Winners' Cup champions against the Euro Cup champion Hamburg. 2-0 over 2 legs, which is amazing. They did retain the Scottish Cup, and man, Aberdeen looked good. So he was offered some managerial jobs, and basically, Aberdeen just went up. But then, sadly, though, they dipped starting in '85 and all that. Ferguson was a manager of the coaching staff for the 1986 World Cup, but unfortunately, when Jock Stein collapsed and died, at the end of Scotland's game against Australia, Scotland won to make him play against Australia for a spot in the World Cup. He decided to take charge of the Scots to take care of Australia, and he did all that. Ferguson would step down as Scotland manager in '86 after Scotland failed to beat the group stages at the World Cup. So Tottenham gave him a chance, but he didn't do it. Arsenal had a chance, but he rejected it. And then basically, Man U said, hey, we have our man. So basically, when Ron Atkinson got sacked, he was manager of Old Trafford. In 1990, famously, in the third round of the FA Cup against Nottingham Forest, if Man U had lost to Nottingham, then there was a good chance that Fergie would not join them. He would be fired. However, a late goal by Mark Robbins gave Man U the win, and United got the FA Cup, beating Crystal Palace and all that. But then again, he just started to play a lot of success and all that, especially in 1999, winning the treble. I mean, European champions against Bayern Munich, FA Cup champions, and Premier League champions. That's hard to do, a treble. I think only 2 other teams in England have ever done that. But anyway, Ferguson decided to retire May 8th, 2013. It was the end of an era. In fact, Ferguson's retirement saw Man U shares fall on the New York Stock Exchange by 5%. However, Man U did get the Premier League, which was big, and David Moyes was made Everton manager. The Everton manager was made to be manager of Man U, but sadly, though, he didn't last long. Ferguson was involved in a argument with David Beckham, as I mentioned in my David Beckham video, that Ferguson kicked a boot in frustration, but caused Beckham to have a minor injury. Ferguson did apologize to Beckham. So anyway, Ferguson did not like people. He got 5 touchline bans for criticizing match officials. And he even has something named after him in the Premier League, Fergie time. It's basically that Ferguson's intimidation of referees were called in Fergie time, basically generous injury time being added in matches when Man U were behind. The concept was first made in '93 when Steve Bruce scored a 97th minute goal, or 7th minute of injury time, against Sheffield Wednesday to win for Man U. A lot of people say this is the term that they always use when games have more injury time than expected, and basically to try to come back to tie or win the game and all that. There's a lot of analysis saying that when Man U were losing, there were more than 79 seconds of more time played in the Fergie time effect. However, Ferguson's former players have gone to be managers themselves. Alex McLeish, Gordon Strachan, Billy Stark, Brian Robson, Steve Bruce, Mark Hughes, Roy Keane, Paul Ince, Ole Solskjaer, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, and the Neville brothers, Gary and Phil. It's amazing that. He's a statue outside of Old Trafford before he even retired. So he actually has a wife, Kathy, and have 3 sons, Mark, Darren, and Jason. Darren actually is manager of Peterborough in the 3rd division, if memory serves me right. But anyway, yeah, he was pretty much a big role. Got a couple of honorary doctorates and all that. And he's a wine collector. Yeah, it's weird how, as a player, he actually was the top goal scorer in Scotland in 1966. So that's amazing. So anyway, as a manager, he was huge and all that. He won many awards and all that. He's the only manager to win titles for both England and Scotland, which is amazing. He was actually the last manager to win the Scottish League Championship of a non-Old Firm team. Really? Aberdeen is the last non-Old Firm team like Old Firm. I think that's Celtic and Rangers, if memory serves me right. But man, yeah. So Celtic and Rangers have not dropped a title since 1985. That's amazing. That's just wow. And just mind blown. I mean, like, I know Scotland gets a bad break, but man, I didn't know that Celtic and Rangers were that hard pressed. But yeah, as a manager, he got, with his time with Eastern Style, St. Mirren, Aberdeen, the Scottish national team, and Man U, he won over 1,200 of his 2,100 games. So he has a winning percentage of 58%. That's pretty good, though. So Sir Alex Ferguson is an icon, and he will always be an icon. I'm Jeff Diamond. Ado.